Well, hello everybody out there. This is VA Coffee and News and Scuttlebutt. It is February 7th, Friday, February 7th of the year 2025. And as you can see, what we have written here is the question, should we call it just politics and trust Elon Musk with our private VA claims files? Now, the reason I'm saying that is essentially some people have been stating that this should be the case, that there are some other YouTubers out there, of course, telling us we're fear-mongering, this kind of thing, that we're fear-mongering and that essentially we should it's just politics, don't worry about it, especially if you're a veteran, not to mention if you're an American. Okay, so basically we wrote our own little editorial here, and here it goes on this whole subject. And if you feel differently, that's fine, we're Americans. So here goes. Here's what we feel about it here at VA Coffee News and Scuttlebutt. The current occupant in the White House is clearly breaking the federal law, and yet we are told that we're now to trust this man who clearly breaks the federal law on firing our VA Inspector General, and that we must trust his unelected hand-picked man named Elon Musk from South Africa to now have access to all of our VA claims and personal information. Have fun with that. This is acquiescence, and it is acquiescence to an ever-increasing unconstitutional power grab by an imperial-like presidency that grows over time. And I'm not just saying Republicans or Democrats in this case with my friends here. It doesn't matter that this is one political party or another political party. It is antithetical, this whole growing power of the presidency, it is antithetical to Republican conservative philosophy, while at the same time being very friendly to supporters of monarchical designs. By the way, we here at VA Coffee did not vote for Harris or Trump. We might have voted for Mickey Mouse or John Wayne, but we are Americans first and know that political factions taken too far could tear this country apart, just as President George Washington feared it would do. And to our friends who are now apparently not cynical of big government anymore, and whom are now putting their trust in, quote, trusting big government, end quote, simply because there is a new occupant in the White House, well, they are ascribing to a very dangerous political philosophy. So to use the expression as some do, that this is, quote, just politics, end quote, like some of the YouTubers out there, when it comes to the VA, this is clearly another excuse for not properly protecting our fellow Americans and veterans. So tell us, if the President and VA Secretary Doug Collins get to pick and choose what laws they follow, what VA regulations from Title 38 as veterans do we get to pick and choose not to follow? The answer is none, because we are expected as Americans to follow the laws of Title 38 and federal law. Many of us learned the old saying while serving in the military that went something like this, quote, in God we trust, all others sign here, end quote. And so it goes that we had a very strict law code called the UCMJ, and yes, we still have that for our active military people. It was a very strong law code, and we were all held to account on it when we were in the military, as we should have been. So now, in civilian life, we are expected to follow the civilian law codes, including the VA's Title 38 as well. So here we have the federal law clearly stating that the president must give 30 days notice when he is going to replace an inspector general overseeing a federal agency. And in this specific case, the current occupant in the White House has and is knowingly violating this critical federal law, which is supposed to make sure, quote, the fox is not running in the hen house, end quote, at the VA in terms of fraud and abuse. The new VA secretary is a very smart and educated man, and therefore the question arises as to why, when the VA secretary has been sworn to uphold the Constitution and therefore the laws which flow from it, why he knowingly abets the occupant in the White House in clearly breaking this important law on warning Congress with the 30 days notice. If the VA secretary is willing to ignore this clear federal law because his boss ignores it, what other laws will he choose not to follow? So again, we finish with the American maxim, quote, in God we trust, all others sign here, end quote. So no man should not be above the law. Okay, because we are a nation of laws and not of men. And when this ceases to be the case, we shall no longer be a republic, but a monarchy. And that's from us here at VA Coffee. So, again, since, President Trump can now pick and choose which laws he chooses not to follow, especially in regards to, as veterans, the Veterans Administration firing the Inspector General, the person who's supposed to be investigating fraud and abuse. And that's not just going after veterans. That's going after whenever the VA makes a wrong decision. So, again, if this is just politics, I think that is a very dangerous path to go down. Because, if we're going to be a republic, if we're going to be a nation of laws and not of men, and, not let one man be above the law, then that's fine. But again, are we to pick and choose? Do we get to pick and choose the laws from Title 38 of the VA, Code of Federal Register there? Do we get to pick and choose which laws we're not going to follow? Because, hey, my boss is like cool with breaking the federal law, blatantly breaking it. So why can't I just do that? Oh, but I forgot. We veterans aren't supposed to. We're told to wait 8 months, 7 or 8 months. Now, in fairness, people saying just trust Musk. Well, how can you trust Musk if his power is flowing from a man who is just unconstitutionally and illegally fired the Inspector General, who's supposed to be keeping an eye on guys like Elon Musk? And by the way, again, it may just be politics to some people, but when they start doing things that, hey, everybody else, it's fine to fire these people, but when it comes to our benefits, just understand, when they tell you are fear-mongering, I mean, how many times have we been told that in the past? Just ignore it, it'll go away. That's not what we do as Americans. Why is it so unfair for us to ask to have an Inspector General and that the law be followed? Because, yeah, you can say, well, the president has a right to fire the VA general. Well, if he wants to do that, he must give 30 days notice. And I mean, again, this will be part one, because there's a whole reason why Trump is doing this. I think you already guessed at it, but we can go into detail on that later. But again, which laws do we get to pick and choose? Okay, which laws do we get to pick and choose? President Trump and the VA secretary the VA secretary is allowed to ignore the fact, he's not ignoring it. He knows that President Trump is committing an unconstitutional action. Again, and it's this whole idea of the imperial presidency and how powerful presidents are getting. And I wouldn't care if it was Biden, Obama, Trump, anybody doing this. No one's there now to delve into, to find out, hey, why is Elon Musk doing this? He can't do that. It's a violation of the law. Well, gee, and then for our friends, and there are some friends on YouTube, and I consider them friends, telling us that, well, one guy on LinkedIn just put out that, it was only the VA, Inspector General, or only the freeze was applying to only the VA when it was to everybody. Okay, so instead of one bank getting robbed or one person getting assaulted, now 50 got assaulted. I mean, I don't get what the reasoning is to now not take, to worry about that, okay? I think that the folks who are out there helping our veterans, and you know who they are. I'm gonna give a good shout out to Veterans Daily and I can't think of the other one. You know who I'm talking about. Veterans Daily and the others. I think they're doing good. I just think, along with some other friends, that maybe you guys say you're not getting into politics, but you are by even talking about it. Why don't you just stick with the regulations? And hey, if this could affect veterans, say it. But then when you start going in saying, oh, this is just politics, and, oh, this is fear-mongering, well, that's your opinion. So, you can at least state that, hey, it's my opinion, it's fear-mongering, you guys. And I get that you could be right about it, but we should, as Americans, always be vigilant. Whatever happened to that libertarian philosophy, man, don't tread on me, and be vigilant for your freedom and liberty. I don't care if it's Biden trying to be a king, or Trump, or Harris, whoever, the far left, pushing all that woke you-know-what on us, or the far right pushing other crap on us. That's not where the American position lies. It lies where I believe the American position, with some of our friends out there, that the American position lays where President George Washington believed it should lay. And that is, do not, get into your political factions too much, because that is what our enemies want. And we have them domestically and we have them internationally. Okay, so I'm going to stop there. But this was our little opinion piece. Everybody's got one, But, hey, if you're just saying trust Elon Musk, I mean, why don't you go reading a book? I think it was Mr. Jesse Ventura. Something to the effect, the title was 63 Documents. He didn't say conspiracy theories, 63 documents the government doesn't want you to read. Okay, so don't put your blind trust in anybody. Thank you.